Morning, you lovely lot. Let me put this over there. If you stay right until the end, I'm going to show you a couple of things that I only want the hardcore people here to look at. Let me put that down there. So good morning. Today we are going to, as I promised, tell you my celiac story. Now, first and foremost, please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because that really supports me on this channel with all my endeavours. I've started this new series, which you seem to be loving, where I sit here with my cup of coffee and today's mug. Have you heard this? It's like a poem, Desiderata. Just read some of those words in there. Actually, these might be able to, they've got the light in them, so it's difficult. I'll try and link it down there, but it's all philosophies like speak your truth quietly and clearly. Listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Life is all about stories and I love telling them. So today I'm going to dive straight in and tell you about what happened to me, how I lived as a celiac for 38 years before I actually knew that I had celiac disease. And so I was eating gluten all of that time, what it actually did to my body, how I looked while I was eating gluten. So I struggled with tummy issues for as long as I can remember, from a tiny little girl. Now, let me drink some coffee. Good morning and cheers to you. And to those of you who've been watching and sharing and liking, it means so much to me. Thank you very much. Oh my God, it is so nice. Thank you. Have you got yours? Now, carrying on from this, please do leave questions. There's going to be some from you. People think you might have celiac. Please leave questions below. I'm very happy to answer them. I am an allergen practitioner and I am a registered nutritionist. So that means I have a science degree about food and digestion and chronic disease and that sort of thing. So I do feel that I'm qualified to talk about this. So with that comes a certain air of responsibility. I just want to sit with my legs crossed. Comes with a certain responsibility to make sure that you understand. Firstly, I'm telling you about my story, and that yours would possibly be completely different, because every human body is different. Like, even though our heart all beats boom boom like that, it all does it in slightly different ways. You know what I mean? On the pattern, nobody's going to be exactly the same. So bear that in mind. So as a little girl, I struggled, and at 3 days old, my mum started to feed me solid foods because she said I was screaming all the time, and back then they assumed that I was hungry. I'm going to get quite personal here, and I'll try not to get emotional about this because it does actually cut me quite badly. Mum used to think it was funny as I was growing up to tell everybody at parties and things what a horrible child I was as a baby, and that I just used to scream all the time. And these are her words, and I'll try and do the voice as well. Bloody little cow she was. I used to chuck her down the end of the garden and let her scream, ha ha ha. As you're growing up hearing that, that doesn't really do you many favours in relation to self-love and all the rest of it. So, but that's kind of like, let's park that and leave that there. I reckon now I was a screamy baby because I had upset tummy or sore tummy or was in pain. And I grew up thinking that that was quite normal, that was what everybody's was. And at the age of 16, this makes me emotional as well. At the age of 16, I left home. Don't need to explain why really, but I did go off to college, and I lived down in Broadstairs, funnily enough. You might have seen that Broadstairs video that I said recently about we went here and we did that, and I started to have a great time. But I lived in what they called digs back then. I need to hurry up this story slightly. And I didn't realise that I used to sit on the toilet for copious amounts of time, and I just thought that's what people did. That's how long it took. But they used to come rapping on the door, all these other people sharing this accommodation, including this woman who was probably older than I am now, saying, you can't hide in there all day, Louise. You've got to come out and you've got to have a conversation with us. And I was like, what are they talking about? I'm going to the toilet, you know. And so obviously with celiac comes an awful lot of toilet issues. Now, I was also that child as a little girl that constantly had ear, nose and throat problems. Not so much nose, but I always had tonsillitis and I had loads of ear infections. There's another story to come about my deafness, which I will tell you. I've got so many stories. So if you do like these rather than sort of the vlogs, although I am vlogging today because there's a lot going on today in my house with all the building works. Another story, another day. So yeah, I was always poorly, and knowing again what I know now, I can relate that to food allergens, which is why I got so passionate to go and do my degree. And oh, I was going to show you that mug, but I graduated in 2018 with my science degree in nutrition because I wanted to help others. And that is something I do, yes, and I'm going to leave some links below there today if you're interested in finding out about allergen tests or consultations with me regarding this. Excuse me, I've still got this pneumonia thing going on. Anyway, only just, but I don't like to edit these videos. So fast forward, I had loads of health issues all the way throughout my growing up period. So I got married very young, started trying straight away for a baby. I had lots and lots of miscarriages, and I didn't know, but this is very symptomatic of having celiac disease. So in all, I've had 12 miscarriages. I know that sounds awful, and everyone was at the time, but looking back, I'm grateful that they were very early on, because I do feel for these ladies who must sort of get a bump and feel their baby's moving. That must be, oh goodness. So I had lots of miscarriages, I had difficulty conceiving, and I had 9 years of fertility treatment to then go on and get my lovely twins. Again, I didn't know endometriosis, which is what I had. I had an emergency surgery at the age of 21. All of these things are symptomatic of having a food intolerance or food allergy. And they are both very different things. They set off different immune reactions in the body. Gluten you can have an allergic and you can have an immune reaction to those. And if you're celiac, it means you're allergic. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get anaphylactic shock, although some people do. Mine isn't like that. Mine gives me this kind of like wave of fatigue where I just have to go to bed, have to sleep it off, can't even talk, I'm too tired. And that can still happen quite regularly, but a lot of the time it's because you've been glutened accidentally. That is a term, glutens. So it's been an ongoing battle with my health. Now, at the age of 38, I was on husband number 2, and I was in Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt, and I got particularly ill, to the point that I thought it was holiday tummy. And even though I loved my time out, that's the first time I'd ever been, I did think to myself, oh my goodness, I have got this real bad holiday tummy, it will be good to go home. Not something I ever say about going abroad. So when we went home, it carried on and it carried on and it carried on. And then I started to lose a lot of blood. I'm really sorry if this is TMI for any of you. I won't get into too much detail, but I am very happy to talk about it. So again, if you want to know more, just ask me. I'm really open about this. There was also, you get a build up when you've got inflammation in your body, like, you know, when you get a cold and you get real mucousy nose, that mucousy thing is there to protect you, and that is caused by inflammation. And it's the same with your digestive tract as well. You will get inflammation in there and it causes mucus build-up. So it's normal to have a little bit, but the amount that was coming away from my body was not normal. So I knew something was wrong. Went to the doctors, and they've been telling me for years that, because I bled quite a lot since I was quite a young girl, and they said for years, the bulk standard answer, it's going to be hemorrhoids. I can say that. And I was like, but you know, this has never gone away. You've been treating me with that for years. It's never gone away. So then they said, right, you're going to need an operation because you need to have a wider canal down there. That's all I'm going to say about that. That is a bit too much. And I was like, nah, not buying that, not sure about that. So they did send me for because I was bleeding, they sent me for a colonoscopy. I had a colonoscopy and I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And from that, I started to do my research, and I was like, hang on a minute. Now, Crohn's symptoms are generally quite severe, so don't be sitting there thinking if you get a little bit of an upset tummy from time to time that you've got anything like that. Do not panic, because the chances are it's not. It's probably you're reacting to something that you've eaten. So I then went and had my celiac test done, which you can do at home, and I came up as borderline positive. But the reason it was borderline is because I had stopped eating gluten. I put myself on a specific diet called the specific carbohydrate diet, because I read and got so interested in all of these issues. Just hit the tongue, don't let's get disturbed. Yes, it is very early in the morning here once again. So I I read all this stuff and I was on this specific diet and I'd cut gluten from my diet. And to get as positive from celiac, you need to eat a lot of gluten every single day. Like, I think it's 4 slices of bread or something. I mean, God, I couldn't imagine doing that now. So I cut it out and came borderline positive on there. So I'm like, a positive is a positive, so I know for sure that I have celiac. And since I've cut gluten and I've been celiac for 12 years now, I have not looked back. I feel so much better. I look totally different. Now, the reason I said to you to hang on to this stage, and I know those of you who are going to be here and you are super precious to me, thank you for being here this long, because we can see on YouTube when people drop off, and we can't see specific people, sorry, that's like divulging information, but we can see, and those of you who comment certain things, I just know that you've watched till the end. I'm going to show you a photograph which I think is horrific. Now, I went and worked for Weight Watchers before this. No, I didn't. Was it after that? Yeah, it's after that. I did every diet known to man and I could not drop any weight, even though I stuck to it religiously. And I'll say that with my heart, I'm that person, I can do that. Even did Slim Fast, or it wasn't Slim Fast, what was it? I want to say Herbalife, but that's wrong. But it was something where you did shakes. They were very high in sugar, so that's definitely not Herbalife, I don't think. But anyway, this thing where I did very high in shakes, and somebody came around once a week to weigh me in and all the rest of it, and I stuck to it like a trooper and no weight came off. I did Weight Watchers like that and no weight came off. Now, I met this fantastic Weight Watchers leader lady and I said to her, I am really sticking to this and nothing is happening. The funny thing is, I was about probably 1 stone, not even that, heavier than I am now. And I'm going to show you the photograph which would highlight to you I'm 4 or 5 stone heavier than I am. But I was bloated, and I don't mean my tummy was bloated. I get frustrated with people that say about their tummy being bloated, but they still keep eating the same stuff all the time. Your tummy is bloating for a reason. It's trying to tell you something. So Christmas Day, if I put a parsnip on my plate, I will look pregnant and I'm fit for nothing for the rest of the day. All I can do is sleep. I go into a coma. And it's not because I'm allergic to parsnips. My stomach and my digestive system cannot deal with the fibrous content and the high starch and all of that of a parsnip, which is a crime because I love vegetables and I have to be really careful and limit them. So I'm going to show you this photograph, which was taken at the beginning of my Weight Watchers story. I didn't follow the Weight Watchers plan. I followed my own plan, eliminating gluten, eliminating my other allergen foods that I felt I was supposed to, which meant low starch and low sugar. It's all to do with gut flora. It's so in depth. I could talk about this all day long, but I don't want you to think, oh God, what's she talking about? And I've lost you. But like I say, do ask me questions. I can make specific videos, even if a really small handful of you want to know. Equally, don't forget, I'm really happy to have a consultation with you over the phone, over Skype, or even on email. I do that as well for some people who want to ask these questions, but they're a bit shy. So just to prove that I work for Weight Watchers, and there is a whole other Weight Watchers story because it was quite a horrific experience. I'm going to show you this is my training. They call it WW now, but this was years ago. So this is me. This is my leader trainer. I don't think there's a date on it. No, they didn't date it for whatever reason. But I started that obviously after I'd lost my weight because I really wanted to help other people. And what I wanted to do really was to tell them about allergens and things, because often if your weight is stuck, you've got some problem there. Something's not right. If you're doing the calories in, calories out thing and you're not losing weight, there's something else, because calories in, calories out works. We know that. But there's a massive but that comes with it. And I was that big but as well. Big butt, quite literally, excuse the pun. All right, don't hate me. So take a look at me now. Bear in mind, I weighed a stone heavier at this time. Now, I had to have this photograph up at every meeting to motivate my members, for them to see that they can get there too. Are you ready for this? Oh God, so bear in mind, this is not me being much more overweight than I am now. I did not look at all well. I mean, look at that. It's just, yeah, I've got to put it down, sorry, because it does upset me. I went all these years and nobody told me, nobody looked into something, nobody said, could you be this, could you be that? And our foods are manufactured in such a way now that is so different to how it used to be. And I really want to cough again, so I'm going to have to end this video quite quickly. But do you feel my pain? And do you get, like, with yourselves, if you've got something like that, like IBS is a symptom. It's like saying you've got a headache. IBS isn't the illness. There's something causing that illness. The same if you've got a headache. You might be dehydrated. You might need more sleep. It could be hormones. It doesn't mean, oh yeah, I am a person that has headaches. Do you know what I mean? Good morning, Julie's just texted me. Finally waking up at this time of the day. So it's, to me, it's just like, oh my goodness, like, why are there not more people out there trying to get to the bottom of what it is? It can be that one specific thing. Now, the question I do get asked as a celiac more often than not is like, how the hell do you live without bread? It is not hard. I find, maybe it's because I've got Crohn's as well. My celiac journey could be slightly different to other people. Somebody might just be able to knock out the gluten and be fine. But because of, when you feed a baby at 3 days old, you mess up their gut flora. It's called the microbiota, and again, I could talk about this forever. Your microbiota has got so much, it does so much, it controls your hormones. Like, my microbiota is a constant fight. I have to take supplements every single day to try and keep them populated, because I can't eat the fibrous foods either that feeds them. So there's all of these sorts of reasons that give me a little bit of a battle there. And what they do is they will control things like blood glucose levels, and my blood glucose levels aren't quite where I'd like them to be. And even though I've got all this knowledge and I do eat to that, I am a human being and I do give in to certain things. But what I don't tend to do is eat gluten-free foods. Gluten-free foods trigger me. I will do it once every so often. If I'm really craving a piece of bread, I will have a piece of gluten-free bread. But that's generally once every 3 or 4 months. I can't really deal with it much more than that, because I get that bloating, I get a bad stomach, and it wipes me out. So the best way for me, I've found it now, it's going to be different for everybody. Like I say, happy to answer your questions. I'll leave my links down there. If you want to go, it's on a specific nutrition website. If you want to go and read more about me, my story, how I got into food, because that's what I left school at 16 to get involved in food. And obviously now, generally, my YouTube thing is going, traveling, looking for the different foods, vlogging about it. This is like nearly there with the full-time dream. That and the books and the writing and the, oh my God, my life is so fantastic at the moment. I'm so happy. But yeah, every single time that you stay on this channel and watch these things and go and click, I'm going to put something here for you to go and look at, which is going to be a little bit of a sad story, a little bit of a sad video. Probably with a better camera than that, 'cause I steal Jasmine's when I do those sometimes. Go and click those and watch something else. It really, really supports me. So thank you for that, because it does allow me to be continually like looking after my health, because there are those days when I can do nothing, but those days are limited now. Whereas, as you can see, let me just indulge you one more time quickly. Can you believe how different I look? I mean, all right, my hair colour's a lot lighter, but it's the bloating, that the whole shape of me has changed. And yeah, I'm embarrassed to show that, but it wasn't really my fault. I was doing what I thought was good and healthy, and I did actually lose 3 stone, and I'm like 2 stone heavier than I was initially. But then a lot of people look back and said, God, you got really skinny. I do have another skinny girl photo that I will show you. You seem to like these photo things, so I'm going to show you that skinny girl photo, and I'll probably start to go through all of those and hold up the photo, tell you the story. There was a time I was really, really, really unwell, and I got down to 7.5 stone because of my IBS, as they called it back then, and my hemorrhoids was also bad. But I was very unhappy and very poorly, and I would like to tell you that story too, because I want you to see that, like, a lot of people look at me now and go, oh my God, your life is amazing. It is, and I'm not going to say it isn't. I still have my ups and down days. Of course, don't we all? But it has been a flipping journey to get here. let me tell you. So on your down days, I want you to sort of realise that there's people like me out here, just ordinary people that have had these times. Anyway, I'm going to point again to this video because it's there now and it wasn't before. Lots of love to you. Have a fantastic day. I will look forward to seeing you in my next video, which will be tomorrow. Again, please share, subscribe, like, and I will see you soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.